unmute on my part, and we're gonna
Oh.
head back into the chat screen.
Oh no, I did not mute.
Oh, I don't.
Oops.
Good.
Okay. So we're on.
It was just on my stream, not yours. Don't worry
I
about it.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do your stream, I do mine.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We stream. We do the thing.
Right. So I'm picking up with chapter 3 now, right?
You stream, I stream, we all stream for ice cream.
That sounds good. I'm gonna have some
Mhm.
after this.
That's a fair point. I might have some leftover pizza before I head to bed.
Oh, lucky you. I wish I had pizza. Little Caesars.
Michelin star rated. All right. Chapter 3.
What kind of pizza? What kind of pizza do you have for leftovers?
It's got
Oh,
no
man.
cheese on it because allergies. It's
You got allergy to cheese?
yes.
Shit, that's
it's-
news to me.
Oh, do you want the
Lactose
whole?
intolerant?
Do you want the whole list? It's
To be fair, I didn't know either. Is it all dairy
Huh.
products?
It's all dairy products.
Mm,
So it is dairy, eggs, sesame seed, nuts, thyme, and shellfish. Used to be more stuff, but gotten some stuff back.
Very nice. Have you done immunotherapy for that, or is it just kind of like, as your body matures, the relationship with food also matures?
I think I've gone with a second option. I feel like it's been like unintentional immunotherapy. That's like the sensitivity, kind of like eating little bits here and there, right?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, so
like
I
to
feel
think
like-
Baljeet laid claim to those foods that were hampering him. It was just like, I am going to have this food now, and you can't say anything about it. And they're like, all right, we won't let you have an allergic reaction to it anymore.
Look, man, if that's the case, I'm gonna claim shellfish. I'm gonna claim coconut, so I can go on Survivor and be
All
like,
right,
hey,
no,
I can.
this is a dangerous line of thinking. I rescind my comment.
It's I feel like the immunotherapy though sometimes like somehow happen with soy because like at least soybean oil that's in like tons of stuff. So I think that's I don't know if that's the way it worked though or not. But someone will figure it out one day and then people will have less allergies, hopefully.
Someone will
Hopefully.
figure it out.
All right. So,
Wait,
Without further
before
ado.
before we go, can I have a link to the charity so I can post it in my chat?
it's I think the same thing happened with Juby with Toys for Tots. So I have it set up through Twitch itself. So what if someone wants to donate, what they can do is go to my channel on desktop.
I'll just
And
shout
then,
you out right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that also works.
That'll work. All right. Go ahead and continue while I do that. Everybody who's watching, go donate if you can to the concurrent stream that's happening right now, where it's called Meta, right?
Yeah, it's Metaviver. So I'll type that into
Metaviver.
I can type it in a Discord.
MacGyver?
MacGyver.
You said that really fast, and I thought you said MacGyver.
So that reminds me of something else. I you know the song Holy Diver?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, look.
So yeah, Holy Diver.
Go to
Go
Baljeet stream and donate for breast cancer awareness
type-
and research.
I used to think that song said Old MacGyver. That's also what I almost typed in his Discord chat. Goodness. Goodness.
Got it.
Alright. So, Chapter 3. I sat one evening in my laboratory. The sun had set, and the moon was just rising from the sea. I had not sufficient light for my employment, and I remained idle, In a pause of consideration of whether I should leave my labor for the night or hasten its conclusion by an unremitting attention to it. As I sat, a train of reflection occurred to me, which led me to consider the effects of what I was now doing. 3 years before, I was engaged in the same manner, and I had created a fiend whose unparalleled barbarity had desolated my heart and filled it forever with the bitterest remorse. I was now about to form another being of whose dispositions I was alike ignorant. She might become 10,000 times more malignant than her mate, and for delight, let me try it again. She might become 10,000 times more malignant than her mate, and delight for its own sake in murder and wretchedness. He had sworn to quit the neighborhood of man, and hide himself in deserts, but she had not, and she, who in all probability was to become a thinking and reasoning animal, might refuse to comply with a compact made before her creation. They might even hate each other. The creature who had already lived loathed his own deformity, and might he not conceive a greater abhorrence for it when it came before his eyes in the female form? She also might turn with disgust from him to the superior beauty of man. She might quit him, and he be again alone, exasperated by the fresh provocation of being deserted by one of his own species.
Even if they were to leave Europe? Hey, wait, hold on. No. Okay, my mic is on. Even if they were to leave Europe and inhabit the deserts of the New World, yet one of the first results of those sympathies for which the daemon thirsted would be children, and a race of devils would be propagated upon the earth, who might make the very existence of the species of man a condition precarious and full of terror. Blah, 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 blah. A condition precarious and full of terror. Had I a right, for my own benefit, to inflict this curse upon everlasting generations, I had before moved by the softness and of the being I had created. I had been struck senseless by his fiendish threats, but now, for the first time, the wickedness of my promise burst upon me. I shuddered to think that future ages might curse me as their pest, whose selfishness had not hesitated to buy its own peace at the price, perhaps, of the existence of the whole human race. I trembled, and my heart failed within me. When I looked up, I saw by the light of the moon the daemon at the casement. A ghastly grin wrinkled his lips as he gazed on me, where I sat fulfilling the task which he had allotted to me. Yes, he had followed me in my travels. He had loitered in the forest, hid himself in caves, or taken refuge in wide and desert heaths. And he now came to mark my progress and claim the fulfillment of my promise. Stalker!
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Wow, so a whole race of homunculi, right? That's kind of what they're driving at.
The new human race.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't know. I feel like it would be something to celebrate rather than, be horrified by, but
Maybe if you
within
didn't make it so fucking ugly.
Within the context, yeah, I guess, within the context of the value system going on in the world right now, in this world of Frankenstein. Yeah, I can see how it could be a little daunting. I'm gonna go ahead and start again.
Please.
As I looked on him, his countenance expressed the utmost extent of malice and treachery. I thought, with a sensation of madness, on my promise of creating another like to him, and trembling with passion tore to pieces the thing on which I was engaged. The wretch saw me destroy the creature on whose future existence he depended for happiness, and with a howl of devilish despair and revenge withdrew. I left the room and, locking the door, made a solemn vow in my own heart never to resume my labors. And then with trembling steps I sought my own apartment. I was alone. None were near me to dissipate the gloom, and relieve me from the sickening oppression of the most terrible reveries. Several hours passed, and I remained near my window gazing on the sea. It was almost motionless, for the winds were hushed, and all nature reposed under the eye of the quiet moon. A few fishing vessels alone specked the water now and then. The gentle breeze wafted the sound of voices as the fishermen called to one another. I felt the silence, although I was hardly conscious of its extreme profundity, until my ear was suddenly arrested by the padding of oars near the shore, and a person landed close to my house.
In a few minutes after, I heard the creaking of my door, as if someone endeavored to open it softly. I trembled from head to foot. I felt a presentiment of who it was, and wished to rouse one of the peasants who dwelled in a cottage not far from mine. But I was overcome by the sensation of helplessness, so often felt in frightful dreams, when you in vain endeavor to fly from an impending danger, and was rooted to the spot. Presently, I heard the sound of footsteps along the passage. The door opened, and the wretch whom I dreaded appeared. Shutting the door, he approached me and said in a smothered voice, "You have destroyed the work which you began. What is it that you intend? Do you dare to break your promise? I have endured toil and misery. I left Switzerland with you. I crept along the shores of the Rhine, among its willow islands, and over the summits of its hills. I have dwelt many months in the heaths of England, and among the deserts of Scotland. I have endured incalculable fatigue and cold and hunger. Do you dare destroy my hopes?"
Oh, am I starting? Begone! I do break my promise. Never will I create another like yourself, equal in deformity and wickedness. Slave, I before reasoned with you, but you have proved yourself unworthy of my condescension. Remember that I have power. You believe yourself miserable, but I can make you so wretched that the light of day will be hateful to you. You are my creator, but I am your master. Obey! The hour of my weakness is past, and the period of your power is arrived. Your threats cannot move me to do an act of wickedness, but they confirm me in a resolution of not creating you a companion in vice. Shall I, in cool blood, set loose upon the earth a demon, whose delight is in death and wretchedness? Begone! I am firm, and your words will only exasperate my rage.
Is it my turn now?
It is.
The monster saw my determination in my face, and gnashed his teeth in the impotence of anger. "Shall each man," cried he, "find a wife for his bosom, and each beast have his mate, and I be alone?" I had feelings of affection, and they were requited by detestation and scorn. Man you may hate, but be aware. Your hours will pass in dread and misery, and soon the bolt will fall which must ravish from you your happiness forever. Are you to be happy while I grovel in the intensity of my wretchedness? You can blast my other passions, but revenge remains. Revenge henceforth, dearer than light or food. I may die, but first you, my tyrant and tormentor, shall curse the sun that gazes on your misery. Beware, for I am fearless, and therefore powerful. I will watch with the wiliness of a snake, that I may sting with its venom. Man, you shall repent of the injuries you inflict.
Devil.
Go for it, Baljeet.
Oh, yeah. Devil, cease. And do not poison the air with these sounds of malice. I have declared my resolution to you, and I am no coward to bend beneath the words. Leave me. I am inexorable. It is well. I go. But remember, I shall be with you on your wedding night. Ooh. I started forward and exclaimed, Villain, before you sign my death warrant, be sure that you are yourself safe. I would have seized him, but he eluded me and quitted the house with precipitation. In a few moments, I saw him in his boat, which shot across the waters with an arrowy swiftness and was soon lost amidst the waves.
He doesn't need a fucking a motor-powered boat. He is a motor-powered boat. I could just imagine how strong he is, just like cutting through that water. Whap, 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 whap. Just like, Jesus.
I mean, do you think that the creature's end game is to have a child, right? As well as a mate? Or do you think he just wants someone until he dies to like accompany him? Do you think it's all made up with Victor's assumption? Or what?
I think it's made up with Victor's assumption, because I mean, how would... I don't see and maybe this is just my mind seen from the perspective of like a reanimate corpse wouldn't have necessarily, it wouldn't be fertile.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, maybe in their sense, maybe Victor made him in a way that he would be for some reason, you know? I mean, if he made him fertile, I could see that he would be concerned about that.
Right. It's the yeah.
I just learned about that. It's called the post-zygotic barrier. Sorry, I'm nerding out. Because Baljeet just like, he would be infertile. Technically, yes. Depending on if he regenerates, depending on a lot of factors, but I don't think Shelley
But
went that.
does he himself have a desire to have a child in the first place, right? I don't think we've heard that from the creature.
I don't
right?
think
Whether
so.
it's from his loins or not, right?
Yeah. So what I'm seeing here is it's like the creature wants to at least have someone. He sees the world around him and he's just like, at some point, people have their mate, and he doesn't find it fair that Victor, who so created him in such a way that no one wants to be with him, like he feels like he owes it to him. Like, hey, you brought me into this world.
Yeah.
Like, there's
companionship.
Companionship. Or we should go to like China or something, man. You should go just somewhere else. I don't think he'd have a problem finding a mate if he were to go to like Africa in this point in time. Because I think they're all strength-based, like at this point in time in Africa. Like, I think it's like the strongest warriors, like, I don't know. I could be talking out of my
I don't know.
butt, so.
I don't know anything about how cultures developed from back then, to be honest. I mean, maybe except a little bit about American culture, you know, at this point.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? But in any instance, I feel like he would have had a better time in other environments. I think Europe has always just been like this giant land of we're more superior than you are kind of air.
Can be. Yeah, I can see that. We're getting into some deeper implications I don't think Shelley intended. Maybe.
Yeah, no, but anyway, so back to
but
the
it is
original
fun.
point.
It is fun to spitball it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in any case, the monster's just like, you owe it to me, and he's just like, I don't want more of you running around, so it's not happening.
Yeah, I think in the end, it's like there can't be two. There can't be more than one.
Highlander Sanders. Highlander.
Highlander syndrome. Whose turn is it? Is it mine?
I think it's mine. I think about you just okay.
I did, yeah.
All was again silent, but his words rung in my ears. I burned with rage to pursue the murderer of my peace and precipitate him into the ocean. I walked up and down my room hastily and perturbed, while my imagination conjured up 1,000 images to torment and sting me. Why had I not followed him and closed with him in mortal strife? But I had suffered him to depart, and he had directed his course towards the mainland. I shuddered to think who might be the next victim sacrificed to his insatiate revenge. And then I thought again of his words, "I will be with you on your wedding night." That then was the period fixed for the fulfillment of my destiny. In that hour, I should die, and once satisfy and extinguish his malice. The prospect did not move me to fear, yet when I thought of my beloved Elizabeth, her tears and endless sorrow, when she should find her lover so barbarously snatched from her, tears, the first I had shed for many months, streamed from my eyes, and I resolved not to fall before my enemy without a bitter struggle.
The night passed away, and the sun rose from the ocean. My feelings became calmer, if it may be called calmness, when the violence of rage sinks into the depths of despair. I left the house, the horrid scene of last night's contention, and walked on the beach of the sea, which I almost regarded as an insuperable barrier between me and my fellow creatures. Nay, a wish that such should prove the fact stole across me. I desired that I might pass my life on that barren rock wearily, it is true, but uninterrupted by any sudden shock of misery. If I returned, it was to be sacrificed, or to see those whom I most loved die under the grasp of a demon who I had myself created.
I walked about the isle like a restless spectre, separated from all it loved and miserable in the separation. When it became noon and the sun rose higher, I lay down on the grass and was overpowered by a deep sleep. I had been awake the whole of the preceding night. My nerves were agitated and my eyes inflamed by watching in misery. The sleep into which I now sunk refreshed me, and when I awoke, I again felt as if I belonged to a race of human beings like myself, and I began to reflect upon what had passed with greater composure. Yet still, the words of the fiend rung in my ears like a death knell. They appeared like a dream, yet distinct and oppressive as a reality.
The sun had far descended, and I still sat on the shore, satisfying my appetite, which had become ravenous, with an oaten cake, when I saw a fishing boat land close to me, and one of the men brought me a packet. It contained letters from Geneva, and one from Clerval, entreating me to join him. He said that nearly a year had elapsed since we had quitted Switzerland, and France was yet unvisited. He entreated me, therefore, to leave my solitary isle and meet him at Perth in a week from that time, when we might arrange the plan of our future proceedings. This letter, in a degree, recalled me to life, and I determined to quit my island at the expiration of 2 days.
I want to go back to the idea that I was talking about at the beginning of the stream. About, the blindness. And yeah, I'm still resonant with the fact that, like, their hate and their ideals have blinded them so far where it's like the monster cannot request to be taught kindness because he's experienced so much hate and disgust. And Frankenstein cannot learn to tolerate because he is blind by the fact that he has created something so disgusting. Right? It's that blindness which kind of faults their communications, right? Because otherwise, I feel like it would have been a situation where this creature is born, and, you know, while he might have been disgusted by it at first, he may learn to have studied it, you know, a little more, seen the true nature of it. But since they both kind of fled from each other, you know, I guess it comes down to a story of first impressions being the most important, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Like, Victor's the one that just can't come to terms with what he created. And it's just like, instead of appeasing his creation, it's basically it's basically his kid. And he went,
and at the same time, it's complicated by the fact that the creature only knows hate now.
The other parallel I'm seeing right now is there's a lot of mention of parents hating their kids.
It seems similar to me that how Victor's ideology with the text versus his father's. You know, I think kind of it was Victor, the books that he wanted to read, his father kind of brushed those aside and said, "Oh, you're reading those?" Or it just kind of seems like
I mean, he did mention that that's where this whole thing stemmed from, is that resentment.
He's becoming his father. Not quite the same way, but...
But yeah. But like, you know, maybe in an alternate version of the creature, he would have come away from that hateful experience with that family in the, I guess they were they're exiled in Germany, right? That's where he found himself, right? Maybe he would have came away with that and tracked down Victor with, you know, please teach me kindness. Please teach me, you know, can we work something out instead of like, you know.
He's deflecting. He's just like... But then again, he's also going, people don't respect me, people hate me, therefore why should I be kind to an entire race that wants nothing to do with me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's just basing his actions based on his personal experiences. However, the thing is, it's just like Victor fails to take that accountability of, I created
to teach
you.
him. Yeah.
And the thing is, the monster, the creature, he's just like, fuck, even my own creator doesn't like... Even my own creator doesn't like fuck with me like that. Like, he hates me too. So...
And there has been no change of heart there at all.
For anyone, exactly. Like, the creature basically had to twist his arm to get him to like listen to him.
Yeah.
And even when Victor was just like when Victor wasn't looking at him and listening to his words, like he was just like, wow, he makes a lot of sense. But like, for some reason, as soon as Victor looks at him, he's just like, nah. Yeah. He shouldn't be a thing.
This is like this absolute part of him that is just like reject. Yeah. I feel like Shelley I don't know if Shelley struggled at all, but I feel like if I were writing this story, I would struggle really hard with that. With like, oh, but let's be kind to this creature. But the whole story is contingent upon that hatred, that rejection, that disgust of the world in some form, right? That you bore something upon the world and the world rejects it.
I still find it similar to like a parent-child relationship, or any adult that has like a fiduciary relationship with a child, and that like the monster or the creature here is just finding ways to get attention. So like if it doesn't get the positive attention, then they start acting out to still get attention. So even if it's the creature is doing things that Victor doesn't want it to do, it's still getting Victor's attention in the process. And so it'll fight for what it can get, even though it says I'll walk away. I mean, that's like a still, I can still see it as a little kid saying that, like, I'll go away, I'll run away, kind of thing.
The hatred breeds the hatred. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's like the other thing is like I know earlier. I think it was like the end of Volume 1 where the initial murder of his brother happened, and he framed that one girl. I forget her name. I don't know if you two remember.
Justine Moritz.
Justine, yeah. So Justine had that kind of relationship where her mom had wanted nothing to do with Justine, like whatsoever, through no fault of her own. And I there's like a parallel there.
Yes.
It's like.
No, absolutely. That is an intentional parallel for sure.
The creature is just like he is a creature of circumstance, and Victor doesn't take it upon himself. Again, I keep saying this. He does not take accountability for his actions and sit down and go, "Hey, you know what? Let's talk about this." But every time he sees him, he's just like, "You need to not exist."
Right. Yeah. That's what the whole story is contingent upon. You're absolutely right. It's interesting. But if he could get past that, it would be a much different story. So, yeah. Whose turn is it? Sorry. Is it my turn?
Oh. Last thing I remember was oaten cakes, and that was part of the...
I think Mauricio read this last part. Fudge read this part about Perth,
Expiration
right?
of 2 days, yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so it is
you
mine.
are starting yet before I departed.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Here, I'm gonna step away for like 2 seconds. And by 2 seconds, I mean like 5 minutes. You guys can keep reading, and then I'll just pick up wherever you guys. I just need to.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I need to do a thing.
Okay.
Yet, before I departed, there was a task to perform, on which I shuddered to reflect. I must pack my chemical instruments, and for that purpose I must enter the room which had been the scene of my odious work, and I must handle those utensils, the sight of which was sickening to me. The next morning, at daybreak, I summoned sufficient courage and unlocked the door of my laboratory. The remains of the half-finished creature whom I had destroyed lay scattered on the floor, and I almost felt as if I had mangled the living flesh of a human being. I paused to collect myself, and then entered the chamber. With trembling hand, I conveyed the instruments out of the room, but I reflected that I ought not to leave the relics of my work to excite the horror and suspicion of the peasants. I got gas bubbles coming up. I'm belchy.
Oh no.
I'm burpy.
Oh no. That might be me in a second. We'll see.
And I accordingly put them into a basket with a great quantity of stones, and laying them up, determined to throw them into the sea that very night. And in the meantime, I sat upon the beach, employed in cleaning and arranging my chemical apparatus.
Nothing could be more complete than the alteration that had taken place in my feelings since the night of the appearance of the demon. I had before regarded my promise with a gloomy despair, and as a thing that, with whatever consequences, must be fulfilled. But now I felt as if a film had been taken from before my eyes, and that I, for the first time, saw clearly. The idea of renewing my labors did not for one instant occur to me. Let me read that again. The idea of renewing my labors did not for one instant occur to me. The threat I had heard weighed on my thoughts, but I did not reflect that a voluntary act of mine could avert it. I had resolved in my own mind that to create another like the fiend I had first made would be an act of the basest and the most atrocious selfishness, and I banished that from my mind every thought that I could lead to a different conclusion.
Between 2 and 3 in the morning, the moon rose, and I then, putting my basket aboard a little skiff, sailed out about 4 miles from the shore. This video of music is almost over.
Oh no!
We'll have to pivot to a different video. The scene was perfectly solitary. A few boats were returning towards land, but I sailed away from them. I felt as if I was about the commission of a dreadful crime, and avoided with shuddering anxiety any encounter with my fellow creatures. At one time the moon, which had before been clear, was suddenly overspread by a thick cloud, and I took advantage of the moment of darkness and cast my basket into the sea. I listened to the gurgling sound as it sunk, and then sailed away from the spot. The sky became clouded, but the air was pure, although chilled by the northeast breeze that was then rising. But it refreshed me, and filled me with such agreeable sensations, that I resolved to prolong my stay on the water, and fixing the rudder in a direct position, stretched myself at the bottom of the boat. Clouds hid the moon, everything is obscure, and I heard only the sound of the boat as its keel cut through the waves. The murmur lulled me, and in a short time I slept soundly.
I do not know how long I remained in this situation, but when I awoke, I found that the sun had already mounted considerably. The wind was high, and the waves continually threatened the safety of my little skiff. I found that the wind was northeast, and must have driven me far from the coast from which I had embarked. I endeavored to change my course, but quickly found that if I again made the attempt, the boat would be instantly filled with water. Thus situated, my only resource was to drive before the wind. I confess that I felt a few sensations of terror. I had no compass with me, and was so little acquainted with the geography of this part of the world that the sun was of little benefit to me. I might be driven into the wide Atlantic and feel all the tortures of starvation, or be swallowed up in the immeasurable waters that roared and buffeted around me. I'd already been out many hours and felt the torment of a burning thirst. And in prelude to my other sufferings, I looked on the heavens, which were covered by clouds that flew before the wind, only to be replaced by others. I looked upon the sea. It was to be my grave. "Fiend," I exclaimed, "your task is already fulfilled." I thought of Elizabeth, of my father, and of Clerval, and sunk into a reverie, so despairing and frightful that even now, when the scene is on the point of it closing before me forever, I shudder to reflect on it.
I, swiftly, switched over to the next video while you were doing that passage there.
I had a feeling you would do that at some point. Yeah. Such skill. Much music.
Some hours passed thus, but by degrees, as the sun declined towards the horizon, the wind died away into a gentle breeze, and the sea became free from breakers. But these gave place to a heavy swell. I felt sick and hardly able to hold the rudder, when I suddenly saw a line of highland towards the south, almost spent, as I was by fatigue and the dreadful suspense I endured for several hours. This sudden certainty of life rushed like a flood of warm joy to my heart, and tears gushed from my eyes. How mutable are our feelings, and how strange is that clinging love we have of life even in the excess of misery. I constructed another sail with a part of my dress, and eagerly steered my course towards the land. It had a wild and rocky appearance, but as I approached nearer, I easily perceived the traces of cultivation. I saw vessels near the shore and found myself suddenly transported back to the neighborhood of a civilized man. I eagerly traced the windings of the land and hailed the steeple which I at length saw issuing from behind a small promontory. As I was in the state of extreme debility, I resolved to sail directly towards the town as a place where I could most easily procure nourishment. Fortunately, I had money with me. As I turned to the promontory, I received a small, neat town and a good harbor, which I entered, my heart bounding with joy at my unexpected escape.
As I was occupied in fixing the boat and arranging the sails, several people crowded towards the spots. They seemed very much surprised at my appearance, but instead of offering me any assistance, whispered together with gestures that at any other time might have produced in me a slight sensation of alarm. As it was, I merely remarked that they spoke English, and I therefore addressed them in that language. "My good friends," said I, "will you be so kind as to tell me the name of this town and inform me where I am?" "You will know that soon enough," replied a man with a gruff voice. "Maybe you are come to a place that you will not prove much to your taste, but you will not be consulted as to your quarters, I promise you." I was exceedingly surprised on receiving so rude an answer from a stranger. I was so disconcerted on perceiving the frowning and angry countenances of his companions. "Why do you answer me so roughly?" I replied. "Surely it is not the custom of Englishmen to receive strangers so inhospitably."
"I do not know," said the man, "what the custom of the English may be, but it is the custom of the Irish to hate villains." While the strange dialogue continued, I perceived the crowd rapidly increase. Their faces expressed a mixture of curiosity and anger, which annoyed and in some degree alarmed me. I inquired the way to the inn, but no one replied. I then moved forward, and a murmuring sound arose from the crowd as they followed and surrounded me, when an ill-looking man approaching tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Come, sir, you must follow me to Mr. Kerwin's to give an account of yourself." "Who is Mr. Kerwin? Why am I to give an account of myself? Is this not a free country?" "Aye, sir. Free enough for honest folks. Mr. Kerwin is a magistrate, and you are to give an account of the death of a gentleman who has been found murdered here last night." The answer startled me, but I presently recovered. I was innocent. That could easily be proved. Accordingly, I followed my conductor in silence, and was led to one of the best houses in town. I was ready to sink from fatigue and hunger, but being surrounded by a crowd, I thought it politic to arouse all my strength, that no physical debility might be construed into apprehension or conscious guilt. Little did I then expect the calamity that was in a few moments to overwhelm me, and extinguish in horror and despair all fear and ignominy or death. I must pause here, for it requires all my fortitude to recall the memory of the frightful events which I am about to relate, in proper detail to my recollection. Chapter 3?
Well, I mean, how are you going to end chapter 3 like that and not... now I want to know.
Alright, I don't know where Fudge has gone.
I've seen his face kind of... not his.
Oh, you're here.
I just came back, yes. I needed to go test drive my new food processor.
Okay.
Ooh.
Amanda's just like, "Oh, we don't know how to do it." I was like, "I will do."
Alright.
Alright, where are we?
We're finito
We
bonito.
just finished chapter 3.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you guys went fast.
So yeah, I think that's where we'll leave it for tonight. Thank you all for joining us. I'll go ahead. Baljeet, are you still streaming after this?
Short.
I am not going to be streaming after this. I am gonna go to sleep after this.
Good idea. Yeah, sounds like you need that
Question
rest.
for Baljeet before he goes.
Yeah, of course.
Do you play Pokemon Go?
I have the app. It's been a while since I've played, but I do have it.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you were actively playing, I was like, we can play. We
Yeah,
can send each other gifts. I
that's
don't know when
true.
the last time you played, but like, if it was pre-pandemic, they have changed quite a bit and they made it way more enjoyable than it was before.
The last time I played was when I think Meltan was like a new thing, and they were just releasing people like being able to place Pokemon stops on their own.
Oh wow, a lot has changed since then.
Yeah.
You will like it.
Okay, I gotta not fall back into the gotcha part of it. That was an issue at one point in time.
I haven't found the allure of Pokemon Go like Mauricio has, but it is fun to do when out and about.
It's just kind of one of those things where I'm out and I'm just like Pokemon, Pokemon, Pokemon when I'm not doing things. Because it's like my brain is just like when I'm not intently doing something, it's just like I may have some processing room for some Pokemon in there.
Mm-hmm.
That or the Zorba, that Greek folk dance plays in my head while I'm doing menial task.
Oh.
I don't know why, but it's just
Zorba
like...
the Greek. Would like to see that.
Ooh, a Dawn fan.
Are you playing right now?
Yeah.
I am, in fact.
So there's a Pokestop like right at my school.
There you go, just milk that.
Do you have any suggestions to raid? I was gonna raid Dubious, but I feel like I've raided him.
Let me look and see.
I'd like to
I don't know
raid
why,
someone
but I thought-
of your choosing as well.
I thought you meant like... I thought you meant like Pokemon raiding. For a hot second there.
I was like, oh look, Satila's streaming, but no. Let's see. Got two options.
I could always raid Dubious. It's always cool. Dubious is chill.
I got a couple options here. Also
want to give new people support.
Yeah. There was someone I saw that was streaming Hollow Knight that's been like doing the runs on there. I think their name is Wintry Duckling.
Okay.
I don't think they're affiliated or anything, so I've just been trying to like support people who are not quite there yet.
Can you copy paste that into the Discord chat for me?
I can. Let me do that. Do.
And we can both raid them at the same time.
Double raid. Okay, let me see. I was about to put that in the wrong chat entirely. Oops. Well, I'm liking this one. This is a nice song.
This is a famous song. It's been used in movies as well. Yeah.
Alright, so that should be the name.
Wintering Duckling.
Alright.
Alright, we are raiding Wintry Duckling.
Alright,
And
I
I'll
hope you guys have a
probably just
great
hop off,
rest of your night.
But give my message of support if you're gonna watch for a little while.
Yep. Sounds
I'm
good.
also probably gonna scoot off to bed soon.
Sounds good. Hope you guys have a nice night.
Everybody have a lovely night. Thank you for once again reading with me. I look forward to this every Friday. And
I might have missed out on the list section, but I'm power reading through it.
Yeah, this is always so chill, and hope anyone who enjoys the chill vibes that we have and discussing and super casual and.
Oh man, Lethal Company is one of those games. My God.
Yeah, it looks fun.
All right. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Bye-bye.